it's a pandemic kind of born story, and in New York City in particular, just the streets were so quiet during the pandemic, except for these e-bike delivery workers. That group of people in the city just grew exponentially during the pandemic as we kind of became inside people and outside people, and people who were delivering and people who were ordering, and essential workers and non-essential workers, right? And there was this feeling that like the city almost looked like a desert or a western, and these delivery workers were the cowboys. There's lots of other stuff going on. There's having symptoms and not being sure if your symptoms are valid. You see that in the pharmacy scene. There's kind of being lonely in your apartment and projecting a fantasy onto somebody's window, or a nightmare onto somebody else's life that you can see, which is a very New York experience.
Yeah, I think loneliness is a big one that inspired for me.
And the delivery worker community is also, growing exponentially. 70,000, I believe, in New York City. And I hadn't seen a movie that gets into that world and that subculture, which just the way that the guys, mostly guys, dress and decorate their bikes, the number of different languages and cultures. You got Southeast Asian delivery workers and a lot of Central American. You'll see people who are they've got like Guatemalan flags tricked out on their bikes, so trying to make something about that featured that community was also an inspiration. And in the cold, everyone's so covered up, the kind of gear, the outerwear, all the things that you're wearing to protect yourself from the elements is what inspired this character, like where you can't see what's underneath. Power signal.
I think it's walking around New York City every day too. It's just I started noticing them everywhere, and I would walk by places and I would see scenes and I would see this imagery, and then I would talk to Oscar about it, and yeah.
Yeah, we wanted to make something that felt like a documentary at the beginning, and kind of gets weirder and weirder and weirder. So there's a lot of real delivery workers in the film. We did a lot of casting and research with actual delivery workers, and even with the main character, Lincoln, I think I was ready to write that character. It could have been a Guatemalan character. It could have been a Chinese character. It could have been Babs, which has ended up what it was. But we did a lot of consulting and research.
Well, it was interesting because you think, maybe aliens, but there's a lot to sink your teeth into. There's a lot about desire. There's a lot in relation to my connection with the character that I'm in the scene with. And it's a sweet script in a way, because everybody has something they want and they're projecting onto. And a lot of people ignoring, simple actions, making someone's day a little better, the pharmacy scene. So it was well written, and I sent it to Angela.
Yeah, she sent it to me, and I love stories that are New York based, and I felt from the very first page how specifically this was written. And I don't think that you have, what do you call them, delivery guys on bicycles in Los Angeles, which is where I'm from. But I especially loved the dynamics, all the metaphors at play. Why was this one man able to reach so many women? I think there was room for longing, there was room for desire, and I especially was very interested in the relationship they had. So I wanted to really explore that with Tennessee, because she and I are actually in an acting class together. And we had one of those instantaneous connections. And so it was the first opportunity we would get to act. And so I was like, I'm there. I read the first few pages. I was like, I'm there. I'll fly myself out. I want to do this. And everyone's so gifted. And this has been one of the, even being here in Sundance has been incredibly special with these wonderful people. Because everyone's so honest and humble and kind and thoughtful. And all of that existed on set. We had, obviously, working on a film, you have time, you got to make your days. But even, you know, sometimes you do a movie and it looks like a set and it looks like, oh, okay, we were making a movie. But this had exactly what it needed to tell the story it needed to tell. Every person was so present, using the energy they needed to tell this story. And so I was just enamored. The first thing we shot was in the pharmacy.
Yeah, we were shooting about this time last year, which was the height of Omicron, COVID. People, I really want as much as you know. The inspiration for the story was also like a lot of people in our community weren't working, and it was like, let's make something where my friends can work on something cool. We're going to be announcing that shortly. And I mean, at least to me, it's hard for me to watch the short film without thinking it feels like truncated or.
Yeah, it was hard to like cram it into, so it's hard to cram it into 20.
Erin's the editor as well, so she's writing on both sides.